is this, that we can generate the energy, we can give it to the grid, and grid can supply it to the to the consumers. We can store it in terms of the batteries that are there, the standard batteries, the lithium battery or whatever it may be, or we can generate it. We can store it by generating the hydrogen, because once we have generated the hydrogen, there are fuel cells, and fuel cells can use this particular energy. So this is the plan. This is the way the hydrogen economy will work, and there is no such constraint which is required to be here. We know that the electrolysis require DC current and DC voltages, and because of this we require the power source over here. So those countries who do not have the renewable energy resources, they can use here the nuclear power as well. Doesn't matter, because we require some power. That's it. India is fortunate to have plenty of resources, and we have done a significant improvement in the solar energy generation as far as wind energy is concerned. There is a significant power plants which are generating this energy. You know that coal is the secondary choice now. NTPC is probably in a difficult position because of this huge surplus power. So power generation has been emphasized criteria for national growth at one point of time. This has now been changed, because we have enough power. Every country has enough power. Now what is required? We have to have a robust mechanism for storing the power, the energy, and then utilize it as per the need. And when we are saying that we have to utilize it as per the need, it involves transportation as well. So storing the energy and then transporting it, these are the current requirements. And the country, whichever country will take the lead into this, it will become the global leader. This is something what has been identified, and that's why these trends are there. So you can see that at this moment about 80 million tons of hydrogen is being produced and it is being used. Okay, and this is the projection with some given by one of the author. Okay. And as far as the figures of the economy is concerned, this is the projection. We are saying that about it. We are saying means this is the study which is there, and the most important part is this last one. The pollution is supposed to be significantly reduced if we switch to this particular technology by using this PEM electrolysis method. And Siemens has come up with one model, and there are several such ways which are there. Okay. So let us see first of all how the electrolysis can be done. So in our schooling days, we have studied what is the electrolysis, and everyone knows this thing, that electrolysis, it means in the fluid form we have to have a compound. We simply place the electrodes and we pass on the energy to this electrode, which forces this compound to separate. So with the water, actually there is one more issue, or one more factor. We know that in the water is the most mysterious element in the world. You can search the YouTube and you will find that there are several videos. Water is really mysterious. Water is so water has. I'm not going deep into this part, but this is really interesting. Sometime you can see in this particular thing. So hydrogen bonding which exists in the water, which keeps it in the liquid form. Otherwise, it should have been, all the chemical engineering principles is water should be in the gas state. It cannot be liquid. So what makes it liquid is the hydrogen bonding. This is one fundamental. We have studied all this in our schooling. So that's why a little bit more energy is required for separating this bond and generating the hydrogen. So the good part of this particular technology, yes, a lot of power is required for it the first time for generating it. But once we say we have the surplus power as on today. So whatever was there in the scenario in 1970s, 1980s or so, this is no more applicable now. We are having the plenty of energy and we can spend more energy in separating the hydrogen and oxygen from the water and making it two separate quantities. There is no need of explaining why the oxygen is required. This is really required. And why hydrogen is required and where it can be used. This is something what we are discussing in this lecture. The important part is when you recombine it again in terms of the fuel cell, once again the water is produced. This is the most important aspect of this particular hydrogen economy. Okay. The hydrogen production and the using hydrogen as an energy is concerned. So there are various ways. Electrolysis is required, but there is no as such that you need to use the water as the electrolyte here. You may use the alkaline as well. You can use the water as such. You can use the steams. So all these technologies are there, and there may be many more such alternatives which could be there. So Siemens has generated something. These are the Siemens slide I have taken from the internet. These are available freely with the consent. Yes, this is more important. With the consent that anyone can use it the way they want. The point which I want to make is, if Siemens can do it, then anywhere, any research group can do it, and they can come up with their own ways of producing the hydrogen. Once you are able to do it, then a significant contribution has been done. So from room temperature to 80 degrees centigrade, from 700 to 900 degrees centigrade of temperature is required. So if we are going for the ceramic membrane kind of system, then for this thing we have to have this temperature ranges. So a special type of furnace is required. There cannot be any ordinary vessel which can be used for this particular electrolysis purpose. So all these are the issues one need to consider this thing, and a lot of interdisciplinary research is required. This is the point which I want to communicate. Now you can see that 1 megawatt power system was designed, and this is something which is already operational in Germany. So Germany has a 5 megawatt. It is a Silesia 200 model. Okay. So only some 4-5 years ago, the Siemens have developed this 1 megawatt, and they are continuously improving this thing. 5 megawatt is this slide is suggesting. 5 megawatt is already they are operational in the Germany, and they are looking for this 1 gigawatt of power. Okay. So 1 gigawatt of power generation is there, which is proposed, and these people are working, and this is something what is available in the Power article. These people have done a lot of research, and from where I have taken this particular content. So Siemens is producing commercial production is there. Okay. Now the most important part, which happened last year only, and I would like to draw your kind attention on this particular part. It's a 2019, last year. This company, Joy Scientific, it's a United States of America, Florida-based company. This has been awarded this particular top 100 North American winner award. This has been awarded to this particular company, and the reason for the award is it has come up with a model with a technology. What they are saying it is a hydrogen 2.0. So what they are defining the hydrogen 2.0, it is really innovative and it's mind blowing, I must say. So they are saying that the localized production of the hydrogen is possible. They are saying that it is possible at the ambient pressure. They are saying it is possible at the room temperature. They are saying it is possible keeping seawater as its feedstock. Now just think of it. If all this is there, then what is required? So the world is going to change very soon if there is something significant in this particular claim. And there are reasons to believe that their claim is right because they have got the award. And this is a prestigious award. So this is the time, this is the high time when we all should think of this particular aspect, that hydrogen is coming up in a big way. All the vehicles are supposed to run by the hydrogen. And wherever the energy is required, it is the hydrogen which is supposed to be used. Because if it is the localized production, if people are claiming that the hydrogen can be generated on demand, on site, on board, now what is required? So every home has a refrigerator, every home will have a hydrogen generator. If it is true, okay, whatever their claim is there. So you generate the hydrogen and you use it for your own purpose. So no electricity and no grid problem or all this problem are supposed to be removed. There is no petroleum dependence. So you will have a hydrogen unit at your home and you can place it in your vehicle and you can run the vehicle. Okay. So it's just vehicle become a cycle, nothing more than this. Have your bicycle and you can go anywhere wherever you require. So something similar will become the vehicle. So these are the projections. These are the projections that where the world could go if something like this will become a reality very soon. Because now raw material is seawater. Earlier, the Siemens, I have shown you the electrolytic process on this particular slide and the Siemens work. They require the pure water. If there is an impurity in the water, then there are issues. Now these people are saying they can directly use the sea water, and we know that how much water is there in the seas. And fortunately, India, you know, we have plenty of sea shores around us. So if this is something which is going to happen, then suddenly this is going to change the entire world, and that's why whenever people are talking about the hydrogen, they are not talking about hydrogen as a fuel. They are saying hydrogen economy, because every aspect of the economy is going to be changed if something like this emerges. So for us as well, I would like to point out that there will be hydrogen IoT. So hydrogen IoT does not mean that this IoT will be fueled by the hydrogen. No, we can have the usual IoT, but this IoT is specifically designed to cater the requirements of hydrogen economy. This is the concept. So what is a hydrogen IoT? Hydrogen IoT is that IoT which caters the demands of hydrogen economy. So this should be clear. Because demands are going to be changed, so the way we are designing the IoT, this is also supposed to be changed. So in the later part of this particular talk, I am going to elaborate something on this particular concept, that what should be there in the hydrogen IoT. Before this, I would like to continue on the hydrogen economy part, because this is something we all need to understand and know. We must know that where are we. So this is something not for the first time I am saying, and I am the okay. This is something which has been identified by the government of India long back, in the 2003 itself. In the 2003 itself, the government of India identified the potential of the hydrogen and as a fuel as well, and the potential as it will become the larger changes which are associated. And the government of India just see the steps which have been taken, because once you identify something big, you are required to take big steps. And this is really pleasing to note that in 2003 itself, the steps have been taken. So we ourselves took initiative to create this particular IPHE forum. We are the founding members of this particular forum. There are several countries which joined this particular initiative. In the 2003 itself, the Planning Commission set up 4 subgroups, and they are looking into the hydrogen production. So hydrogen storage and distribution, hydrogen application, safety standards, security and related policies. So you can see that almost this is the comprehensive one. This is the comprehensive thing, because whenever hydrogen has to come up, we need to see that how to produce it. We need to see how to store and distribute it. We need to see what are the applications, and we need to ensure that there should be safety, security and related policies. So in the 2003 itself, Planning Commission took initiative, and this is something which was done. This is also important. We know that money is required, and we are not the developed nation. Still then we spared $20 million for the hydrogen corpus fund only. And Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas created this thing. And Indian Oil was interested with the responsibility of carrying out this particular research. And a National Hydrogen Energy Board was constituted, and this is something which gives completion. So you can understand that what is the level of preparation that we had in 2003, and let me tell you that what happened thereafter. So in 2006, all these institutes were functioning. Institutes means these 4 groups and this NHAB and everything, they have been working. And when they have been working, then definitely they have to come up with something. And this is something what was there. They said, okay, there should be some PPP model. In this PPP model, development should be done, and these are the targets which have been set. And the important, because we are in 2020 as of now, and just see that what have been the targets for the 2020. So it was targeted that there should be 1 million vehicles running on the hydrogen based ICE engine. It was a target that there should be 1000 megawatt of distributed electricity generation, and it was a target that $5 billion estimated to be spent on the whole program up to 2020. Because it was the projection in 2003. In 2003, we started. In 2006, next 14 years were there. So in the 14 years time, $5 billion was supposed to be invested on the hydrogen fuel research to these 4 subgroups which have been created by the Planning Commission. And in the 2020, we know that nothing like this happened, and we are nowhere close to this particular thing. Okay. And this is really important that one need to understand, at least we people who are known as बुद्धिजीवी work. So बुद्धिजीवी work को थोड़ा सा सोचना चाहिए. What we have done recently, it's just a few days back, 23rd of September 2020. You might have read this particular news in the newspaper. That 18% of mixing of hydrogen in the CNG has become compulsory. The government of India has issued a notification, and why it has been done, because of this development which happened sometime a few years back. Supreme Court itself said that pollution in Delhi should be reduced, and we know that it is the hydrogen fuel which is having the no pollution at all. So maximum hydrogen should be used. But the engines themselves has a capacity, isn't it? The pure hydrogen based are not there. So how hydrogen is being used? Using a fuel cell, not as an engine, as a battery, you can say. So this is something which is there. Government of India is very much there, and they have developed this particular thing. There is one more, I think 2 days later, one more this step 2 regulations what we have been talking about. The step 2 regulations has already been announced by recently, only 4 or 5 days back only. Safety and security related policies for the hydrogen vehicle. This is also written. Gadkari ji, Mantri Mohoday has announced this particular policy as well. So this is there. And I know for sure that that research is going on little lower pace, because pace has been, the entire research has been derailed. But I know that one particular group of the IIT Mumbai and IIT Ropar, they are working it, and there are a few more research groups which are working on this thing. I know for sure that BHEL has developed a vehicle, a 9-meter vehicle is there, a 12-meter vehicle is there, and similarly Tata and Toyota and Hyundai has developed much earlier, because there was a push from the government of India. But now this is on hold, waiting for something to emerge. So this is something what India has done. Now I want to elaborate some points that why hydrogen is the best choice for us as a country. So we know that we need energy, and suppose you use the petrol. So simple calculation is there, and this I am not elaborating this thing, but this simple calculation says if you are using the oil based or petrol based car, then this is the fuel requirement for this, and if we are using a lithium battery based car, then this is the expenses. So you can see that this is more expensive. More important is this, whenever we are saying that, because I am saying this thing because some time back government has promoted the electrical vehicle, and those electrical vehicles uses lithium as a battery. So when lithium batteries are being used, we all are using the lithium batteries in the mobile phone as well. Okay. We already know there is no alternative. We have to use the lithium battery in the mobile. But at least in the vehicles, there is no need of using the lithium battery. This is something what now people have been talking about, and it has become very, very clear nowadays that the lithium is extremely toxic. Okay. Whenever, and that's why I want to request you all, whenever you are throwing your mobile, just ensure that lithium should not be anywhere close to your tape, water tape. It is something which leaches into the ground and contaminate the water, and it is poisonous. So, okay. So something, am I audible? It is showing me a message that something is wrong.
No, sir, you are audible.
Sir, audible only, sir. Audible only.
You are audible, sir. Can you hear me?
So there was some message that it is not clear. So is it fine now?
Sir, this is Dr. UP Singh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So you are audible to everyone. If someone has personal problem, I will look into the matter. Please, you can continue.
Okay. So let me present. So okay, my slides are visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, this is fine. So you can see this thing that lithium is extremely toxic, and air pollution is something we know very well, that we can plant the trees and we can control the air pollution. And if the water is contaminated, we do not have such a widespread, wide-scale solution as of now, in fact, but which can take this thing into the account. So this is also something we must take into the. Money is not everything. Okay. In fact, money is the money wise as well. This is something which is very expensive. Okay. So we need to have a holistic view, and I would like to give you a strategic view as well. And okay, because when we are talking about the energy, if we are talking about the oil, suppose oil means we have limited oil, we have some oil, but it is limited. Oil means the perpetual dependence on the Middle East. And what does the lithium means? India has no lithium, you know it. India does not have any lithium, and entire world, if you see the lithium mines, China has more or less acquired the entire lithium mines. They have the monopoly. So when the India has no lithium, why should we go for the lithium based energy system for the electrical vehicles? As far as the importance of hydrogen is concerned, everyone, including the China, who holds the monopoly, it is writing off the $18 million subsidy to electrical vehicle which are based on the hydrogen, which are based on the this lithium. Okay. So this is something which we are required to take this into the account, that hydrogen technology, if we go ahead, then this is something we have the friends, the country as a friend. We have the friendly country who have these technologies. Okay, Japan is doing a very good work. I already told you Siemens of Germany, they are doing very, very good work. Similarly, there are research groups and the companies in the Korea, South Korea and Australia, they are doing very, very good work, and they can help us if we do something in this particular aspect. So hydrogen is something we can generate ourselves. We can import the technology from our friendly nation, and we can do it. Lithium will never be. So this is something we need to understand, that why we have to promote this particular concept of hydrogen economy. Okay. So having said so much about the hydrogen economy, let me now switch to the technical part that that is the primary focus area for this particular seminar, that IoT, Internet of Things. And what I am saying is, I am talking about the hydrogen Internet of Things, and this is just a term used herein to refer to various possibilities of IoT applications, which can help in smooth implementation of hydrogen. This is not a standard term. Don't quote it anywhere. Okay, this is just for the simplicity in this particular lecture or talk or whatever you say. I am using this term, hydrogen Internet of Things, HIoT. Okay, this is not a standard term. So, as far as the IoT is concerned, there is no doubt. Everyone has told you already that this is something which is having a potential to attract a lot of investment from various industries, and definitely it is going to deliver. We as a research group are working, a few of my research scholars are working on the IoT, different aspects of the IoT, and that's why we know it for sure that IoT is something which is going to deliver something big, because everything is connected. And we know that there has been a time where the Internet of computers are there. Computers are being connected, and we have seen that there is a kind of revolution. And then we have seen that there is an Internet of people, and social networking is there, and this social networking is actually Internet of the people. Just think of it. We are using the Internet for Internet of people. It's a very interesting way of interpreting this social network. And now the trend is Internet of Things. So people as well as the machines, every device, everything is connected. They have their own identity, they have their utilities, and they are availing the services. So let me give you a broader picture. Okay. IoT is something which is not limited to the home automation. Okay, 99% of the IoT presentations, if you see, people are talking about this thing. When you go home, you can switch on the AC earlier, or you can control the refrigerator, and all these are a very small aspect. IoT is something really big. Why at the world level, the businessmen, the top level businessmen are saying that the IoT will have several $1 trillion economy system. So what one need to understand, that IoT is something which exists much beyond. It is the first sensors are simply collecting the data, and the real IoT lies with this important developments. So we have, when we are talking about the IoT is an umbrella. IoT is an umbrella. Under this umbrella, almost everything is there. Okay. So entire big data, data mining, machine learning, artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, whatever is there, everything is supposed to be come under the IoT framework. Okay. So this is something what you need to understand, that there are several enabling technologies, and as far as the IoT is concerned, you can see it is the 2020 estimate, and these are the sectors which are leading, in which IoT is having the applications. So you can see the healthcare, you can see the manufacturing, you can see the electricity, smart city, and these are the contributions given over there. So healthcare is leading with the 41% contribution, and 33% contribution is for the manufacturing. And this is not for installing the sensors. This thing should always be in your mind. No industry can run without sensors. The sensors have been already there. A lot of sensors are there. They have their own autonomous systems. Okay, and the completely automated machines are already there. That's why the manufacturing is going on. So what IoT is going to do, or what IoT is doing because of this contribution you can see over here, is because of these add-on technologies which are integrated over and above the existing technologies. So importance of this is whatever about the hydrogen as a economy I have discussed, you can identify that all these fields from healthcare to manufacturing to any such field, vehicular technology or anything, agriculture, okay, agriculture, you can think that that hydrogen is something which is going to contribute everywhere. Okay. For an example, if I take the example of the agriculture land itself, if you are suppose plogging the field using your tractor, the tractor is releasing the fossil oil, the diesel, and it is creating problem in the fertility of the ground. Instead of that, if you use a hydrogen fuel based vehicle, then what is being generated? It is water only, and water is required by the ground. So this is something which is very, very important to understand. So what you need to understand, if there is a hydrogen based device, then this device is required to be used by a larger section of the society. And when the hydrogen integrates into the daily functioning of various activities of different sectors, different people, then there is a important requirement of knowing the resources, and it is where the IoT becomes very, very important. We need to understand where the hydrogen is being produced, what is the current status of the hydrogen storage. We are required to have an account of how many hydrogen based equipments, vehicles, utilities, machines are available, and where they are available, and what is their current status. Are they free or are they not free, so that they can be transported to the other places. So that a comprehensive analysis, what I am saying, that big data analysis is there. Okay. So all this is required, and that's why IoT is becoming very, very important. So just think of it that what the hydrogen economy can do. Just think of it that what can be the different structures which are possible. What are the different applications which are possible, and how we can have a comprehensive analysis of all these things. Okay. So this is very, very important, that when we are talking about the IoT in terms of the hydrogen economy, then there are so many things, new way of thinking is required. Okay. The entire new structures are required which should be evolved. So we have to have some model as well. So usually this 7-layer conceptual model is given for different IoTs. Whomsoever is proposing, they are coming up with these different ideas. So for the hydrogen economy, when we say that what should be there in the 7-layer model, if we can see that with the 7-layer we can define as market or acquisition, perception, interconnection, integration, analytics, applications. And definitely security and management are always required to be there. So what should be there? If you just have a look at this, you will find that most of the things are already known to us, and it should be, because we are working in the IoT, and basically it is IoT only. There is no requirement as such to work anywhere here, any change, although some changes are required. Not only specific to hydrogen economy, but this is my personal opinion, that at the physical layer we require some changes. I am going to discuss very shortly. But as far as this particular 7-layer model is concerned, all the layers have their own importance. And depending upon the application that you are envisioning or whatever you are thinking of, the specific need of this layers will become clear to you, or specific design is required to be accordingly done. So the most important part is coming from this thing, that what kind of networking and the architecture, especially service oriented architecture, SOA people are calling it, and SDN people are calling it. So we may see from here that which kind of service we want, and then we need to think of these two issues. And once these are being decided, then you are required to see that what are the technologies which are required over here. So you can see that this is something, the model which is different than the layered model which is being shown to the computer networking internet also. So it's a conceptual model, and this is not following the layered principle. This is simply the 7 stacks are there, and you are required to see that which one is there, and they are interconnected, and that's why these vertical layers are being shown over here. We cannot go one by one. We cannot go with the philosophy of the computer networks that the lower layer should serve the upper layer. Not like this. There is very complex interconnection, and it should be. And yes, we have the technologies. We can do it. So this 7-layer interconnection, 7-layer conceptual model for the hydrogen economy may really aid some value to the thought and the way when you plan this particular implementation for any specific need. Now let us have a look at the upper layer issues. Okay. And yes, you can say more or less these are the issues which should always be there. Whenever we are working on the IoT, definitely in the IoT, there will be distributed and parallel data processing which is required, because any application you can think of. Whenever we are having the multiple sensors of different types, then there are heterogeneous data which is now becoming available, and the non-linear processing of the data is required to be taken. And then, depending upon the application, whatever application that we are thinking of, the high dimensional data processing is also required. So when we are saying that we are working in the IoT, one thing should be very clear to us. It's a big claim. In fact, we need to know all these things. Okay, we need to know that which particular technology should be used for all these purposes. So IoT is the complete system. IoT is something which is huge. Okay. IoT means we are talking about sensing. We have the understanding that what to be sensed and what are the sensors which are required to be there. And at the same time, we are having a vision that at the upper layers, which type of complexities are coming and how we are going to solve it. So it's something which is required to be done by a group. So IoT specifically is a system, is a technology, is a domain which must be having the multidisciplinary roots, or a group which should have the multidisciplinary people, and all of this should come together and contribute. Then only you can effectively deliver a working IoT system. So these are the issues which will always be there with the system. And at last, I must say something about the physical layer. I have been working on the physical layer issues since a long time. Our research group has contributed a lot in this particular field. And we observed that for the IoT system, one technology which has been which has some importance is the cognitive cooperative communication. This is something, if you just see the entire IoT research, you will find that that people about the physical layer, and physical layer is really very important. And you can see that that when LoRa standard come, because of the advancement in the physical layer, it has become popular. There's what LoRa can deliver, no other competitive technologies is able to deliver, because of significant improvement in the physical layer technology. So the CCC concept for the hydrogen IoT is something which is being proposed, and we have been working, as I said, that our research group has produced some papers, 2 papers which are recent one, and this is a relevant one. We are required to combine the technologies which are otherwise developed for different purposes. So cognitive network is something which is developed with the concept of the interview mode. No more there, no one is interested. Underlying, yes, something is going on, but it is not going to deliver much. This is my perception. Maybe I may be wrong later on. I would like to bet upon the overlay technique. Overlay is something which is really innovative and specifically for the IoT networks. For the cellular, I am not talking about the cellular network. Okay, for the cellular network, yes, maybe underlay system may be better. But for the IoT system, this is the configuration which must be explored, and yes, we are exploring. So what the overlay system is? The overlay system, just see it that there are primary users and the secondary users, and in the IoT networks, all are required to transmit. You cannot say that only at some point of time, whenever the frequencies bandwidth is available or something is available, you are allowed to transmit, and then you are not allowed to transmit. This is the concept of cognitive network. This is as such not applicable. What we are saying, how overlay is different. How overlay is different than the standard cognitive network. This is something I am trying to explain. Overlay is something which is integrated cooperative technology with the cognitive technology. So two-way relaying system, as I said over here, our group has worked and significant theoretical models and analysis we have done. There are very, very good results. Okay. In fact, this student has now switched to the Canada, and they have done much better work and promising work, and that's why I'm saying this particular thing. Overlay is coming in a big way, and when it is coming in a big way, I think that it must be integrated with the IoT system. IoT is a collection of those devices which are required to transmit, and they are physically located in such geographical positions where they can really contribute in the transmission. Is a relay if we are going to use it. So with this, I would like to say thank you all. I am stopping here, and if you have any question, I would like to answer whatever I can do, the best answer I can give. So over to you, sir. UP Singh, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
जी धन्यवाद.
I did not receive one. Please, everyone, please mute your mic. Thank you, sir. I did not receive any question in chat box. So if anyone has to ask a question, please raise your hand. I will speak your name. Then you unmute your mic and ask the question, please. It was too burning topic and a lot of information furnished by sir, and it is surprising that there are no questions. Has anyone to ask any question? Sir, आइए खत्म करो ये. So I think there are no questions, but some participants has asked for a PPT of your work, your presentation. So can you provide, respected Purohit sir? Can you hear me? Respected
Yes,
Purohit
yes,
sir,
yes.
can you listen to me?
Yes, sure.
Some participants has asked for PPT of the work you presented here. So actually every participant is added in WhatsApp group also. So I request you to provide. If you want, you can send it to my mail also.
Sure.
I will distribute among. If you wish, you can do. You can do a mail and send me a PDF. I will distribute among the participants. And thank you very much, sir.
धन्यवाद.
Today's session was over. Thank you very much to everyone for making this session a success. And we will meet again on 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. So obviously session will start on 10:30, but we will join the session on 10 a.m. as today also. I started the meeting and I started the link on 10 a.m. sharply, and many participants were already joined. So we will join tomorrow at 10 a.m. and our speaker will come on 10:30. There is a half-hour gap to ensure that a sufficient number of speakers are already present when sufficient number of listeners are already there when respected speaker comes. Many times it happens then speaker starts the topic and there are only 10-20 participants, so situation become very awkward. This is why I have requested and again requesting to everyone to join sharply at 10 a.m. and we will request our speaker at 10:30. Thank you. Let me take another picture. Very much participant.
Sir, I have one request.
Yes, please. Let me take a picture of the screen. Too many participants are there at the end. I am feeling very good. Okay. Yes, please.
No, my request is as last Mr. Anay has already told you that we require the PPTs. So whatever PPTs has been basically delivered
Actually,
since yesterday.
I did not receive yet. Before you all, I requested to the speaker to send me the PPT, but he did not send me yet. So once I receive it, if you are on the WhatsApp group by the end of the all sessions or by the end of the FDP, I will distribute all the materials which I receive from any of our speakers.
Fine.
Any other question?
And your question is when you are going to conduct the examination. At the end or in between
session.
or in between and last. Only after
Examination. Already I have provided you a PDF mentioning all the sessions to be conducted, and at the last day after the meditation and yoga session or stress management whichever is planned, after that session we will conduct the examination. So why are you just waiting for the examination?
No, we are not waiting for the examination, but at least we should know about when you are going to conduct
it. Do you hope to test every day?
Before that we require the PPTs. Before that we require the PPTs so that we should revise.
Once you are supposed to listen the speakers carefully.
We are listening, but some of the data is there which we are not able to.
Actually by default you are supposed to join the FDPs of your own field.
Correct.
If you are a teacher, researcher or something of English language, you are not supposed to join FDP of electronic engineering.
No, definitely, that I know.
Straightforward.
That I know, but still somewhere data are required. That's why we require the PPTs. At least some data sets should be.
Obviously, speakers should be sincere to provide questions accordingly.
Fine.
I don't think that data is required. I think that since speakers should provide the question accordingly, if they feel that data is required for the question, so they will provide the data before putting the question, before giving me the question. If they give a question without data, then you should not require a data.
Fine. Thank you.
Any other thing anyone want to know? So should we wind up the session?
Yeah, please.
Thank you everybody.
Thank you. তোমরা দেখাচ্ছে স্ক্রিনটা বাইরে সাহেব তাই